Hey guys, Thomas DeSola Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, here to review the movie Don't Breathe 2. If you end up enjoying this review, then please consider joining my Patreon page. There'll be the second link in the description below. Also consider subscribing if you end up enjoying this review. All shilling will be resided again at the end of the review. Alright, shilling aside, let's get into it. So, it was made pretty obvious from the end of Don't Breathe number 1 that they really were banking on it being successful so that they can make a sequel, as the antagonist of the first movie, Norman, survived his attack from the heroes of the first movie, those heroes being thieves, dangling the line between the people you want to see dead and the people you want to see live. I have innate issues with that inherently, because a majority of horror movies tend to lean closer to, oh, you don't care about the main characters, except they try to, make at least two of the thieves, or heroes, if you want to call them that, a little bit more sympathetic, I guess. I don't recall how well I felt that it did that, but that is for the first movie. So it would have seemed like the sequel was going to pick up with the same female protagonist, but no, that is not the case at all. In fact, this movie seems to simultaneously hold its air about the majority of its movie's length, almost ignoring the first movie completely, and it's only after most of the events occur that it recalls what happened in the first movie, which is a bit bizarre. You would think it would do it the other way around, but we'll go through it step by step here. So we begin the movie with a burning building, which I'm assuming is alluding to either the first movie, I don't remember the house burning, or something happening in this movie. Anyway, we cut to a young girl who seems to be running away from the dog we've seen from the first movie. Norman proceeds to capture her, and she reveals that she is the daughter of Norman. Now, again, if you recall what happened in the first movie, that already seems to be raising a little bit of a red flag, but let's assume for whatever reason you haven't seen the first movie, which, again, it's a sequel, so that is one of the indicators that there is something very off about this scenario immediately if you have seen the first movie. So anyways, we learn that she was saved pretty early on, so it's indicated to us pretty early on, at least to the audience, that daughter, implying that he just took her in and she just lived with that seemingly well enough. Anyways, he seems to guide her through these tests, as he puts them, and only allows her to be rewarded by going out and doing whatever she wants to do by passing all of his test. So, this florist character, who seems to know him, warns him about having that tight leash on the daughter, and so the florist asked if she wants to see her mother, and she says yeah. So, as we sort of move along with them, they're sort of making their way away. We learn about this seemingly unrelated topic to what I can assume is the rest of the movie. It's bizarre that this pops up. Yes, there is organ transplant stuff later in the movie, but it doesn't seem like it's related to this, unless it is, and I completely missed the connection. But apparently in the news there's this human trafficker organ guy on the news. But again, I'm not sure if he was related to the group we see come in later or not. It never makes that connection, at least I don't think the movie does, so I don't know what the point of that scene is supposed to be. I don't know. Anyway, I could be wrong. If someone else caught it, then comment below, I guess. Anyway, so she enters the restroom while they're at the store, and a man sort of creeps on her pretty much, and proceeds to want to follow her and slash them. She separates, obviously, in the forest. Character who drives her wants to get them off the road. She's like moving ahead when she's by herself at this point. She sees these two others taking up the road, and then as she clears it, or is denied clearing it, I forget which one it was, it doesn't really matter too much. She's killed anyway. So we learn, or we relearn in this, that he once lost a daughter already, and he didn't want to lose this secondary chance, this other daughter, unofficial daughter. Anyways, he heads outside with some dog treats as we see the group, or some of the group moving in, killing the dog seemingly off-screen, because cruelty not shown in this movie, even though it did show him taking in some semen in the first movie, but, you know, dog killing, not in this movie at least. Nope. Anyways, so, there are two men who get to his house. Who their names are, I have no idea, and I do apologize for that, but the movie just sort of goes at this point, as the daughter is left home alone at this point, while he's dealing with the loss of the dog, and the two guys have made their way to the house and are sort of moving about. And then a third man enters the house. This is by the time that Norman finds the dog dead officially. So, they kind of kerfuffle around. They find the daughter eventually. She sort of runs off, and she locks herself inside a, I'm not sure what kind of device it is. It's like a box thing with, it looks like a furnace, but I don't think it is, but it looks like a furnace. So I'll just call it a furnace for the sake of this. Anyway, these other guys try to attack, as, what's his name? God, sorry, apologies. Norman, makes his way back to the house. So, he's able to fight some of them off. They learn that he's in the, or was in the SEALs. They threaten, one of them threatens the daughter from the basement where she currently is, inside that furnace thing, by filling it with water or oil. I forget what it was, but I think it's water that he has, and then he has the electrical coil that he's gonna zap her with, goading him to try to come out. They fight, he wins, Norman does, again, claiming to be, helping, but as we see them sort of semi-escape, we see what I referred to in my notes as Hat Man. This guy apparently claims to be her real father pretty early on. So I don't know how convenient that is, but it seems super convenient. And they make it their way to the garden as they're looking for him. We have some more attacking, more escaping in the garden area, more refusing to be captured. The dog comes in, another dog, not the dog that we see in the beginning, but a new dog. So while Norman is dealing with that, the daughter made her way back inside, and she's like at the top floor. It makes her like way back outside, but she's like picked up when she's outside. Norman, seeing the dog and trying not to kill it, makes it stuck. The father, as I'll call him instead of Hat Man, throws a few of them, into the house. So with the house now burning severely, Norman helps the dog crawl out, and it accepts and sort of shifts sides to being with him. So, in the process of all this, again, as I mentioned, the daughter was captured. She's brought to the father's house, and she starts asking several questions about herself, when her birthday is, what her real name is. Apparently her real name is Tara, which is why I kept just calling her daughter, because up until that point I don't think they named the character. At least I don't recall them doing it. And as she's getting ready to leave, she hears a woman's voice, and she's completely shocked as the woman who comes out is her mother, who says that she is dying, and that the only way to help her is to have a transplant between Tara and herself. So the parents are willing to sacrifice their daughter to save the mother. So pretty messed up stuff. On top of the fact that the only other reason outside of that they're doing this is that the mother also runs the operation, I'm assuming they're talking about selling drugs or something of that nature. So yeah, pretty fucked up shit. So we have more fucked up people in this world, just like the first movie. So yeah. So Norman listens around and starts to prep up. The movie, while I don't recall it saying they did do the drugs, they did again make it very clear that the mother was the top of the food chain in this group. So the power goes out. Apparently Norman knows exactly where their hideout is. Okay. And the dog returns very briefly. So, he waits and he lies in wait in the water, letting the water ripple effect carry the sound as these two other guys move in the water. He shoots them. The third guy among them is like, fuck this shit, I'm just gonna give you the information, I want to get out of here, I want to live. And Norman's like, yeah, okay, fine. So Norman makes it all misty, makes it all hard to see because he's blind, makes it so they're practically blind. So he fights the father, after the fact, and the mother and the daughter are like chained together, where the daughter is struggling, so she cuts off her mother's hand to save her own life. Okay. And in the process, the mother falls in a pretty intense height, killing her. Just gonna say, excuse me. So, using the dog to his advantage, he briefly gets some attacks in. And then he goes for the eyes, the father's eyes. And proceeding through that, he kills him too, and the father lands next to the mother, so they died together. Neat. So, Norman, in this situation, he got cut up pretty bad too, to the point where he's dying too. If I didn't make that clear, I'll make it clear now. So he, in this moment, admits the truth about they were technically right. They are the parents. He sort of took her in and scares her off by saying what he, again, recalling what he did in the first movie, even as scummy as rape, he says it, so I'm just reporting what he said, and how much of a monster he truly is. So he scares her off. So yeah. Sorry. I misspoke when I said the father died previously, but he goes for one last kill shot and is stabbed by the daughter. So the daughter is the one who gets the kill shot. And now she's left all alone because in the process of getting cut up that badly, Norman dies too. So through all of this, she is the one who ends up left alone. Except earlier in the movie, we see her very briefly looking at a pamphlet for like this shelter area. So she sort of goes there after the fact, after all is said and done, and she goes to the kids, and they ask her what her name is, and she says her name is Phoenix. I don't know. Anyway, that is where the movie ends, and this movie is a little bit weird in that regard, as it clearly was trying to sort of sidestep from where it was in the first movie, where it was about like these people clearly trying to rob him, and incorporating this daughter character. Clearly they were trying to take her, but they're trying to take her for a different reason altogether, again. And again, I don't know what that was in relation to the news topic. Maybe it was just to set us up to be like, oh, but it's out there, so maybe it has something to do with the movie. Again, I don't know if it was a weak string or not, but whatever. Point being, movies like this, and among the first one, A Quiet Place, these two sets of movies obviously were, I think they came around the same time, the first Quiet Place and Don't Breathe Part 1. Creating a horror story that is more so focused on sound, hitting in on that particular aspect of horror. And again, there are a lot of just things happening in this sequel where the group just sort of comes in. We don't really know much about the rest of them. They're there in this case for death fodder, so far as I'm concerned, which is a bit of a distance again from the first movie, which at least had, the main character be like, sort of start to shy away from it, sort of progress and then die, and then it's the female who gets to live, and, she goes through her own journey and so on and so forth. It's not like that, because now we are following someone from the opposite side, this daughter character, and she's seemingly on his side up until that third act. So, quite a few different things going on here. So yeah, I would say the daughter got it pretty rough, but the ending also kind of has me a bit puzzled too, because the way she replies, and I don't know, I can't, I'm gonna put it on whoever told her to do it that way. It seemed like it was trying to be uplifting, kind of, and again, like, Phoenix, I mean, I kind of get the name, I guess, but it being uplifting after what she's been through, I don't know, I don't see the through line completely. I don't think it's completely fulfilled there. And maybe that's because it's not typical. Maybe it's because when you think about a traumatic experience in general, typically, and I'm not saying it's always the case, but typically, when dealing with kids, they sort of clam up or, are shocked or, in a state that is usually a bit harder to get into the mind of. Something along those lines is typically, I think, what I've seen a bit more often. So, and she, again, her reply seemed to be a bit more cheerful. She even had a bit of a smile to her expression. So yeah, I feel like the ending is a little bit, and this is the mark in that regard. So yeah, and again, since she's sort of primarily the focus of the movie, we're again spoon-fed a little bit of information, like in the midway point of the movie. And with her being a younger character, and this is the trick to the horror thing, is that the younger characters are you typically used to be like, easier sympathy points. That's a secret the horror people might want to let you know. Speaking of someone who has seen and reviewed a lot of horror movies, the easy brownie points is to introduce a young character and make her, or him, or her, whichever, generally a pretty, typical child, I would say, not one that is a troublemaker or one that is just as annoying as any other character. And for the most part, I think they do a decent enough job in that regard. She seems to be very in line, very following and trying to just get out of a situation. So yeah, I think they at least through that lens they did the easy job. But even then, I can't give it too much credit, because again, quite a few things that are again, not as strong as the first movie, which again I think had its own issues that I would again bring up. But again, about what you want your characters to be. If you want everyone in your cast to be a bit more complex, then I think you do have to work a bit even harder than the first movie did by a little margin. But still, I'd probably give this movie like a 4 or 5 out of 10, somewhere around the middle-ish area. I don't remember what I gave the first Don't Brave movie, so take that for what it's worth. And that is my review of Don't Breathe 2. And if you ended up enjoying this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my Patreon page. It'll be the second link. And also consider subscribing. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.